What's up, nerds? Welcome to Cool Nerd Show. I am Steve Trezza.
I am Scott Burnett.
And this is a new show. We're back with a new podcast. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Welcome to Good Friends, Bad Movies, where we will be, Scott and I watch a bad movie together, even though we're no longer residing in the same state. Scott's in Florida, I'm in New Jersey, but we watch online. We film our reactions, and then we go and review the movie. And today, we're going to be reviewing Captain America, the 1990 direct-to-video movie.
You know, because New World Order, or whatever it's called, is coming out.
Yeah, we have a whole schedule of movies we're going to be looking at, but this is what we're starting with. So, Scott, first of all, how you doing?
Not
been a minute.
Not too bad. Weather's warming up down here. I went for a walk, started sweating again, so that's not fun. But it's 80 degrees in February. But it's what I signed up for moving down to Florida.
Well, it's 40 degrees up here, so
maybe we can find a middle ground. Maybe find a middle ground somewhere. We're in the upper 60s.
So yeah, we watched this movie yesterday, and it was something.
Yeah,
it was pretty bad. That like I forgot most of it, but good thing I took notes. So how we'll do this, we're gonna kick it off with a movie trailer, and then we're gonna give our overall thoughts. We're gonna review the plot of the movie, and then we'll have a little bit of movie trivia. We'll give some awards away, and then finally give our rating of the movie at the end. And then we'll get into what we have up in the docket, like what's coming up next. So, Captain America 1990, here is your movie trailer.
Where'd you get your guinea pig?
Happens to be the best damn candidate out of 600 volunteers.
A secret experiment gave one man the strength of 100
For the rest of the world, he's just codenamed Captain America.
and the power to save millions.
The Jerry's have an experimental rocket ready to fire at a target somewhere in the United States.
Only he could defeat a superhuman madman.
They got a fellow called the Red Skull heading up their outfit.
But saving the world left him trapped in an icy grave until fate released him to finish a battle started decades ago. Ronnie Cox, Kim Gillingham, Scott Paulin as the Red Skull, and Matt Salinger as the Marvel Comics hero, Captain America.
All right, so Scott, what were your overall thoughts on this movie?
You know what? Bad movies fall into two bad categories where it's like bad enjoyable and just straight up like bad movie. I think this falls into a bad enjoy because we did have a bit of a good time watching it. And
It's true.
For the listeners out there, you are going to get our podcast review, but as a bonus, if you watch us on YouTube, Cool Nerd Show over at YouTube, we will intersplice our actual reactions because we did film ourselves watching it. And I personally had a great time, but this was probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but the film, just like functionally along with the plot, like camera work was bad. Acting was bad.
Editing was bad.
Music kind of slapped though. It was, but it was like rip off 80s music. Like they wrote their own music based on the movie, but sounded like it sounded like classic.
They were trying to sound like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And like Heartland American rock, but it was like clearly like Walmart music.
But it was like written with the specific scene in mind. So the songs are like really specific to what was happening in the movie.
Like right on the nose.
Yeah. But plot was a collection of events that happened that let the movie go from the beginning to the end credits.
So I do think the movie started off, and it's a great segue to get into the plot. I think the movie started off like kind of okay.
Yeah.
For its time,
Yeah.
right? So we get sent back all the way to the 1940s. Actually, even before that, the 1930s, and we get a Red Skull origin story. Right, the Red Skull, played by, well, I don't know who played Child Red Skull, but apparently in this movie he's Italian. He's not German. And the Germans in 1933 come into this like Italian, I don't know if they're having like a party or something. And the Red Skull was this like piano savant as a child. And they come in and just kidnap him.
They're like, he's super smart and talented. He can play piano.
They kidnap him for this experiment that they're doing on rats that like, I guess makes the rats super agile and enhances their brain function and whatnot. But the side effect is the fact, like all their skin falls off and they turn into this like meaty,
eternal growth,
like a monstrous thing.
They look like Lord Zed from Power Rangers.
They do look like Lord Zed. So they decide that they're going to give this experimental, even though, you know, they haven't yet gotten past it turns everyone into Lord Zed. They're going to give it to this like piano savant child. And then that's how we get the Red Skull.
His makeup did look cool when they first showed him, though.
Well, flash forward to 1945 now.
Yeah.
And I guess they've perfected the scientist who did this experiment has now perfected it. She left the Nazi party and came over to America, and now they're looking for people in America to give this experiment to, and it no longer turns people into Lord Zed.
Well, maybe I misunderstood the plot. I thought the caveat to it working was they had to do it on people with disabilities. That's the way.
I think you might be right, actually. Yeah. If you don't have a disability, then you turn into
then
Lord
you turn
Zed.
into the goopy red guy. But if you have a disability,
then you're fine.
And the way they convey Captain America's disability, they're like, this bitch is frail and dying, and he's this like 6'4", chiseled looking blonde guy, and they just make him limp around and like, he got polio, I think. There you go.
They're like, yeah, he has polio.
They're like, look how tiny and sickly this man is. And he's like at his family's like head and shoulders above everybody else. Like they didn't even try to get a guy who looked like he would benefit from super. This guy looked like he already had it.
Yeah, he's just walking around with like a clearly fake limp.
Yeah.
Which like, and at this part of the story, and this is real, you know, we're 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can buy it, I guess. You know, it's the early 90s, whatever.
The weird disability thing was a bit of, they couldn't have, well, it was the 90s. They were probably, that was the best they could come up with.
So Steve Rogers, they go to this, he gets chosen because he has polio for this experimental drug that's going to turn him into like the perfect specimen. They take him to Roz's Cafe that has a secret underground base where they hook him up to very, for me, like reminiscent of the actual first Avenger Captain America movie. Like they hook him up to this
really
machine.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah. They have a bunch of people are there, like, you know, government agents are there making sure it works. And he comes out and he looks the exact same when it's like it's done. Well, and he like comes out and it's like, I guess he doesn't have the limp anymore, but he just comes off of the thing and he looks completely normal.
Well, not even that. Like they kick off the experiment and the lady who does the experiment is just standing there and the machine is like sparking and blowing up. And it's not like when you go to the dentist and they drape the lead over you and they run into the next area code and then they hit the x-ray machine. She was like, start the experiment, and shit immediately starts blowing up around her. And she's just standing there watching him. And he's like, and then the smoke settles And nothing changes. She's just like, I'm super now.
She's also standing like 2 feet away from him, like glaring into his face.
Yeah.
Just deadpan staring at him.
She's in the
he's
sparks
struggling.
like WCW Goldberg. She's just standing in there, just like really wanting to see if this experiment works.
So the experiment is complete, and they're like, "Oh, it's a success." And like, I don't know how they know that without him
Testing it out.
like he's still like in the machine. Like it's not like he took a step and they're like, "Oh, his lips gone." So they're like, "Oh, it's a success." Everyone's kind of like cheersing each other, and clearly, of course, there's going to be a German spy there. So he goes to like shake her hand as to be like, "Oh, congratulations," and like gives her the like too slow and like pulls his hand up like, "Oh,"
But instead of slicking back his hair,
and pulls the gun up and shoots her.
but instead of doing the slick back, like, hey, idiot, he Heils Hitler and shoots her in the chest. Oh no, he's a Nazi spy.
Yeah, definitely. He did the
Get the Eli. Oh my god. The old too slow Heil Hitler gun combo.
and then he shoots Captain America.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers like 2 times. He has like 3 bullet wounds in him, but Cap manages to like throw this guy into some machinery, and then he just gets electrocuted and dies. And then that scene ends with the doctor. So the doctor later on in the movie, we learn that she like takes the formula for the serum like to her grave, where they're like, she's the only one that knew it and she didn't write it down. So no one knows how to get the super serum anymore. You figured they would have, got that out of her the moment it was created.
They didn't really explain how Cap healed from those gunshot wounds. I guess that's like,
well, he's superhuman now.
yeah. But is Captain America canonically bulletproof like that?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That's why he's got the shield.
He had bleeding wounds from bullets after he got shot, but
big holes.
He seemed fine. Like he didn't even be like, oh, like he just like got shot and threw the guy.
Well, like, and then that's the scene in the hospital. The guy's like, too bad Cap died. And then he just like pops out of the bed and he's like, I want to help. And then immediately he's on a helicopter to Germany or plane in the suit.
Yep. In the suit. They drop him in the woods. It's like he's clearly, not in these neutral colors. Or he's in like an army overcoat or whatever with the like vibrant Captain America suit underneath.
He's got
being
bright
real
red gloves and boots and a blue mask, and he's got like a green army fatigue on. And they were like, this is where they tell us that the lady took the serum to the grave, also how she made the suit and the shield. And I don't know how she made the serum, but she definitely went to Joanne Fabrics for the suit, and she went to maybe Home Depot for the shield. They looked awful. Like, I get it, 90s, whatever. This shit
looked like rubber. It looked like he was wearing rubber.
He had a Captain America condom on his whole body, and he went to the Target toy section and got a shield. It was like very visibly shiny and plastic.
And the other thing too is it's like, imagine you're in the German army or whatever, and all of a sudden it's just like, I don't know, guy dressed like an American clown. Like, then you just see this, just like, oh, I wonder where that guy's from. It's just like literally the American flag, like running at you.
And he has the ears too, like the big, two types of ears. He has the big wings on his head, and he's got big fake rubber ears on the suit. And
that is because, I mean, I was going to bring this up in the trivia section, but apparently the suit, there was too much chafing with the ears, so they made fake ears to just cover his ears. I don't know.
Yeah.
They made fake ears for the costume, and they're extremely noticeable in close-up shots.
Yep. It was really, really jarring. And in the scene you're talking about where they drop him off into the German camp, all the action scenes are like filmed in reverse because they have to get him like throwing the shield, but he doesn't throw it cool. He just like
he kind of like tosses it.
He just gives it a little, he gives it a cornhole toss, but it's obviously filmed in reverse because it comes back to his hand, and it's like the background is, you could see it moving in reverse, and it's so like, and it has so many cuts. Every 7 frames it cuts. It made me nauseous. Like
every action scene in this movie is just like riddled with cuts.
Thank God there aren't many. There's 3, I think, like full on action scenes.
There's a few. There's some chase scenes. We'll get into it.
Yeah. Maybe I am forgetting it because all I remember is 3.
So from here, then Captain America makes his way into the Nazi base, and this is his first mission. He's going after the Red Skull. Like that's what they sent him in here to do because they have like the intel that they need to get the Red Skull.
They don't really explain why. They just
they're just like this is where you need to go. He goes in.
Couldn't be a more evil looking base. There's a flaming rocket in it, like ready to launch.
The Red Skull's there, and he doesn't look bad. Like for like early 90s, like he looks kind of cool.
When they first showed him, because they kept him in the dark, and all you see is like this slice of his like cheekbone in his eye, and I'm like, oh, it's a practical effect. It's really cool. And then they showed him in the light, and it was less cool, but. Still not bad.
It still wasn't terrible.
Still wasn't bad. You could tell they didn't,
like I've seen worse.
You could tell they didn't actually like put a bald cap on him because his like forehead and the top of his head was super elevated up over the actor's hair. It was just like he has a very misshapen Red Skull.
So there's a ton of like Nazi Germans there. No mention of Hydra at all in this movie. No. They're just Nazis.
Regular regular Nazis.
Yeah. So they're all there, but none of them are intervening. They're just all kind of watching this fight between, it's like a gladiator fight between Captain America and the Red Skull. And the Red Skull kind of kicks Captain America.
He's putting belt to ass in this fight.
Yeah,
Captain America really doesn't do much.
Sure, they got this guy with polio, right? They gave him serum, but they didn't trade him at all. They were just like, he's fine. We'll just toss him in this German camp.
We just pulled a couple of bullets out of him. He's good. Get him. Yeah. Put him on the most important mission in U.S. history. Go ahead.
He then gets kind of like captured by Red Skull. Red Skull defeats him, ties him to a rocket, and the rocket is set to hit the White House. So it's gonna hit the White House with Captain America tied to it, and presumably kill both Captain America and the president. But at the last second, Captain America grabs onto Red Skull's hand, and he's like, "If I go, you go." So then the Red Skull has to cut his hand off in order, like at the 0 hour, right before Captain America launches off in this rocket.
Spoiler alert, that doesn't come into play at all in the rest of the movie.
It doesn't. I mean, you do see that like he has a fake hand.
Yeah, later, but like nothing.
They don't bring it back.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, Captain America's trying to save him at the end. And like he's holding on to him off a cliff and the hand pops off and then he falls. Like nothing comes of it at all.
So here we are now. Now, all of that we just talked about, I still didn't think it was like tremendously bad. Like it was bad, but I still didn't think it was tremendously bad until this next scene, which is when I was like, okay,
here comes. And then it came fast after this.
And then after that, it was like speed downhill. It was just like a missile aiming for the White House. So the next scene, we have this child. His name is
Kimball.
Dad.
Kimball.
Hold on. Tom Kimball. Little Tom Kimball. Little Tommy Kimball.
What an adult fucking name. It's a boy. Tom Kimball.
He like has this autistic fixation on the White House and the presidency, and he lives in DC, assumably right across the street from the White House because he can see it from his house.
Well, don't forget his fat nerdy friend Sam.
Well, we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
his mother is like, it's time to go to bed, Tommy. And he's like, but I want to see the president, as he's like looking out the window in the middle of the night. And she's like, yeah, we can see the president tomorrow. So puts him to bed. He sneaks out of his house and sneaks onto the lawn of the White House to take a picture of the White House, which that doesn't trigger any type of security, in wartime America. Just like sneaking onto the lawn of the White House.
Kid sits on a landmine and
completely
blows
barren
up.
and empty. Yeah. And as this happens, he catches a glimpse of something that's on its way to hit the White House. What is it? It's this rocket from Germany with Captain America tied to it. And he uses his camera to take a bit, to see, because he has like super zoom on this camera.
He turns this camera like he's on the ground. He looks up, he sees the rocket in basically low orbit, and he's like, what's that? And he pulls the camera up. You can basically see up Captain America's nose. It's so close.
Wait a minute. So this kid sneaks out of his house to go take pictures of the White House.
How close do they live to the
On the White
fucking...
like
How good is that camera? That looked like the missile was going to hit the kid. Oh, it was. No way. Oh, no. What the fuck was that?
how did he get there? On the other side of the globe.
He's like,
This has a lot of fuel in it.
he's like, I'm really glad I missed Washington, D.C. Next stop, Alaska. That shit is like 4,000 miles away. Kid has the most advanced camera still to this day, I think. That kid.
Then he snaps a picture of him. And
Yeah.
later you see the picture, and it's like a close up silhouette of
Yeah.
Captain America's face. It's
Really
also
good
kinda
photo
like-
comp. Like, great composition for the kid.
No, I don't think so. I thought it was terrible. I
Or,
was like, what
on-
are we looking at here?
on
This
the-
is just like,
You gotta think of the circumstances. That rocket has been flying for probably 10 hours from Germany. At this point, Captain America's exhausted. He's just on the rocket for 10 hours.
what do you
Like,
think he was doing? Like, while he was just like over the Atlantic Ocean,
just struggling. He's just like
yeah.
taking a break. He's just like, "Ah, I need to breathe.
Do you think there was a time where he kind of just gave up and was just like
Yeah. He's like, I got some time
hanging out on this rocket?
He's got a scheme. He's like, I'm only over the ocean. All right, I got some time. like presumably that rocket took a very long time to get from Germany to where it was headed.
Well, it's going to take an even longer time to where it's going, because the rocket comes extremely close to hitting little Tommy Kimball. And at the last second, Captain America is able to knock off one of its, like, what are those called? Sails or something?
Yeah. What do you think of like a typical like cartoonish rocket? You have the fins down on the bottoms of
On the bottom, yeah.
And like right before this kid was going to eat the missile, Captain America like knocked it off, which then sent it careening
back in the air.
faster and farther than it was already going. But then wouldn't you think it would be spinning? Because it
Yeah, I
can't
mean,
get
he would
straight-
probably just land on the ground somewhere and blow up.
But like, even
it's-
if it is, like, it does change trajectory and it does go to where it's going, the aerodynamics are off, so it would be going like this to where it was going.
that doesn't matter in this movie. So instead, it misses him. It goes over the White House. He misses the White House. And then
Great,
the very
great
next
CGI
scene-
or great effects on this. It just, I would have thought they filmed it for real. It looked great. The rocket, when it's passing over the White House, the perspective of it, the rocket and Captain America look about probably 70 times the size of the White House. It would be Godzilla-esque size if you really thought about it.
They also sped it up too. Like
Yeah.
they filmed whatever they needed to do and like put it in fast forward. It's clearly in fast forward.
Just while we're here, and the thought is in my head, everything in this movie will happen in one take, because like you watch, you're like, why did they go with that one? I feel like they were just like, fuck it, on to the next scene. Like,
It's good. Next scene.
yeah, the footage of like all establishing shots are kind of shaky. Like the cameraman had too much coffee, and like everything just could have benefited from just like, yeah, let's try it again. They didn't do that at all.
Yeah,
At any point.
There's no steady cam at all in this movie.
But there's somebody is credited as a Steadicam operator, and we did point it out. Fire that man.
So, the very next scene, we get like Alaska. Meanwhile, in Alaska, which is where the rocket winds up landing. So this rocket went from Germany
Had a
to DC
Had a layover in DC.
to Alaska. That is a lot of fuel for this rocket.
It is 7,100 plus miles from Nazi Germany to Alaska. Going that way.
I didn't realize this at the time, but why didn't it blow up? Like it just kind of like putters out and lands in Alaska.
Yeah.
It's a rocket. It was supposed to blow up the White House,
Yeah.
but then it just kind of like crash lands in Alaska, which is how we get Cap frozen.
Yeah. Don't think too much about it.
I'm not, but it just kind of came to me now. But maybe I think I was just so aghast at what was going on.
You just didn't think about it.
Made its way from DC to Alaska after coming from Germany. And I was like, couldn't think about why it didn't throw up. Why it didn't blow up. Easy.
Cap's throwing up on there. He's like, please, somebody stop this rocket.
So he lands in Alaska. He's frozen. The very next scene, we get little Tommy Kimball and now his best friend Sam in his bedroom, and he's telling Sam about what he saw. This man attached to this rocket. He shows him the picture, which is literally like almost like a total black frame. Like it's like you can't even make anything out.
How did he get it developed?
I don't know.
Back to that process.
I developed it myself. Yeah, I can tell.
It took like 3 weeks to develop film back then.
Yeah, it's really bad. Like you couldn't even make out that there's a person there. Like, couldn't they just take a frame from the movie and like use that? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so he's telling him that he saw this man attached to this rocket, and it must be Captain America. And so I did like this part. Sam was like, "Oh, was it the Submariner or was it the Human Torch or something?" And it's kind of a throwback because those were characters around that time. Like Submariner, Captain America, and Human Torch were like 3 of Marvel's first characters ever. That was like the one cool Easter egg. I was like, that's cool. And he was like, no, it was someone else. And I don't think they knew, like they never announced who Captain America was.
Yeah, I don't think they ever called him Captain America.
They did at the end.
Yeah.
I'll get there when we get there. So anyway, they talk about it and they're like, who is this person? I don't know, whatever. And then he kind of like posts it on his corkboard or whatever. Then we get the war ends. We get a whole.
Sam actually has a decoder ring that he gave to Tommy or something as like good luck. And that comes back later. Well, not really comes back later.
Did that have Captain America's like?
It was it was a different superhero. I forgot the name of him, but there was like another like wartime hero on it. And he was like, you got that picture, survived the rocket because you had my decoder thing. And they're just good friends. And it comes back later-ish.
So the war ends. We get this decades montage of like, the 50s and the 60s. And we, because they didn't license any of this music, we get this like budget value music that's playing in the background that sounds like it's supposed to be out of these decades. And then the next thing we see is a Red Skull secret meeting.
Well, those if you pay attention to the newspapers, it chronologically goes through the years of Tommy Kimball working his way through the ranks.
That's true.
And becoming president of the United States.
Because he had this autistic fixation on the presidency. He did it.
The country's first autistic president, Tommy Kimball.
So he becomes president. Yep. Through the montage we see. And at the time, I don't know. I'm guessing Sam called him Tom or Tommy or whatever in that one scene. But like we're watching this like, who the hell is Tom Kimball?
Yeah.
They're like going through the montage because it's like it wasn't really obvious, and then we kind of pieced it together later, and
Like
we're
a
like,
couple minutes later, we were like watching. I thought it was just a way for them to show like a clever time skip. And I was like, that's cool. And I was like, they're really focusing on these little stories about this Tom Kimball guy. And at the end, it's like,
we thought it was the Red Skull in a second. We were
Yeah.
like, oh, it's the Red Skull. He must have worked his way up through American politics.
that was just a fucking kid. We were like, oh, all right. I guess so.
Red Skull has this secret meeting. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't remember what this scene was. I think it might have been because I just have Red Skull's secret meeting in my notes here. I think it might be
When you
the
see
Red
the general,
meeting with the general who's like a spy.
he's the same general from the scene where Cap becomes Cap, because he's like he like
Younger.
he's younger, but he does the same like ear tug when he's nervous. So you see like America is working with the Red Skull, who's also just not, it doesn't have a red skull anymore.
Yeah, it's like his face kind of his skin grew back after all those years.
He, like, healed
but
it
he's
up.
got these scars that are clearly like movie putty. That's like on him.
You
It
could
was really
see
bad.
you could see a very distinct line, but also they're going over their plan, which I don't think they ever fully explained. I think they want to take the identity of the president somehow, and I think this is where they started talking about it. Like they want to, like they need the president to steal his face. I think.
I believe so.
I think it was
that's-
implied, or maybe I was too busy shitting on the movie and not listening to the actual story, but that's what it felt like.
Yes, and for whatever I forgot to mention this little tidbit too. But like the Red Skull is like obsessed about perfecting his English. Like he mentioned it a bunch of times in his fight with Captain America. He's like, "Oh, is this how you say?" I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But he would talk. He'd be like, "I need to perfect my English before I get to New York City."
Yeah, and he's like,
that was a terrible German accent.
but he doesn't even have a German accent. He has got an Italian accent.
And then later in the movie it becomes a Spanish accent.
Spanish. Yeah. He's very obsessed with learning English. So that's why I got to assume that he wants to like pretend he's American.
Yeah, and then I think their whole plan is they want to somehow steal the president and take his face or his likeness, and then the Red Skull will become the president of the United States.
They never
A very comic booky storyline.
They never say it though. There's just like they have some like
Just very implied.
yeah.
So now we cut forward to 1993 after the whole montage and Red Skull's secret meeting. Captain America is found in Alaska by like a German research team
This
that's
is the first
operating in Alaska.
This is the first of many times where I question what's happening in the movie, and then the movie immediately hits me over the head with the answer. Like, we're watching it, and these German guys are like, "Was ist das?" And they're like going after the Cap's like fingers are poking out of the ice. I was like, "How the fuck are there Germans in Alaska?" And immediately the scene switches over, and it's like a big sign that just says German Alaskan Research Center. Why are there Germans in Alaska?
Okay.
West German Alaska Fields.
That's why.
I was like, oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah, all right, thanks. I don't know why we needed that. I don't know why they needed to find him either.
Yeah, I know.
Like it didn't have anything to do with the movie.
But this happens several times in the movie. I'm like, why the fuck is that happening? And then the movie's like, here you go. You just wait a fucking second. We will fan feed it to you.
So Cap breaks out of the ice. The German research team is like, "Oh my god, like this guy's alive," and Cap just goes, "Nazis!" and like runs out of the tent.
And like the scene, he's just like, I don't even know if he's on camera. You just kind of hear him gravel Nazis, and then like you see his shoulder like running out of the tent. Like, and again, one of those scenes where like it could have benefited from another take, and they were like, we got it.
Then we get, I guess the German research team reports this. I don't remember, to be perfectly honest. I guess the German research team like reports this to the US of like what happened. And then we get President Tom Kimball now.
He's rocking jeans in the
Yeah,
Oval
the
Office.
jeans and a sports jacket and the overall they're like, we found this guy. I think they may have taken a picture of him as he was like
Yeah.
running out of the tent, and then that picture makes its way to the White House, and the president is like, it's this guy that I saw on this rocket when I was like 7 years old, like back in the 40s.
I feel like the president has officially lost his fucking mind.
So he contacts Sam, who's he's still friends with, who Sam is now like a private investigator or something,
Yeah.
and tells him about the guy that he saw back in the 40s is now they found him. He's in Alaska.
Doesn't use any of his presidential channels. He calls his like dopey friend from childhood. He's like, oh,
It's like, you got to go find him.
Yeah.
So Sam's like, all right, I'll go find him. And yeah, because, Alaska's real small place. Like, really easy to find anyone.
Yeah.
One road. Yeah.
It's not a gigantic state whatsoever.
It's not the biggest state in the United States.
Yeah.
So in between Sam going to Alaska to find Captain America, we get another shot of the Red Skull. And he's talking to his hot Italian daughter in the car, and I guess they have like wiretaps, or like they're somehow getting intelligence, probably from the general, who, shout out, was the dad in A Christmas Story.
Yep.
He's talking to his daughter. He realizes that this is Captain America, the guy that took his hand back in the 40s.
Yeah. Even though he cut
And
his hand
sends his daughter, who happens to be like an assassin, and her hot assassin friends.
They're literally all just hot models. It's ridiculous. They look like they fell out of a Ralph Lauren magazine from back in the day, and they just they don't really care about finding them. They miss, and they're like, well, whatever, let's go be hot. And it's just, I don't even know what accent that was.
Well, we don't either, because we thought they were Italian, and then apparently they were Russian. So now we have the hot assassins and Sam looking for Captain America in Russia with absolutely zero leads. Captain America's running around. I'm sorry, not Russia, Alaska. Captain America's running around Alaska with in full suit and shield in the Alaskan wilderness, just being like, I gotta go south. He doesn't know where he is. Apparently, they all come onto the one road that Alaska has.
Yeah. The hot people have helicopters, though.
Hot people have helicopters, who then they land, and then and then also have motorcycles.
Yeah,
to get him on foot.
These helicopters are definitely too small to hold people and motorcycles, too, by the way.
Sam is in his pickup truck.
His Volkswagen pickup truck.
That
comes into play very soon. One of my favorite scenes of the movie is coming up, but I'm so excited to talk about it. Yes.
So somehow the assassins find Cap. They're chasing after him on their motorcycles. Cap's throwing his shield at them, knocking them off the motorcycle. There's some type of chase action scene going on here. Sam pulls up just in time as the assassins get off, start shooting at Cap, and he pushes open his passenger door and he's like, "Get in!" And then Captain America runs into Sam's pickup, and they drive away.
And this is where the
assassins are just like, dang, I guess we missed him.
The aloof assassin, she's just like, bang, 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 and she misses, and she just goes,
Who was that shooting at you?
oh, darn. She just puts her gun off to the side and leans on a post, shucks. They don't have motorcycles they could just hop on. It's on the one road.
Well, I think Cap might have destroyed their motorcycles, because he knocked them off them a bunch of times. So I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there, I guess.
Okay, let's get to the best scene in the movie.
Now Sam is driving Cap out of Alaska, presumably into Canada, and then down the West Coast. And where does Sam live?
I think DC, right?
he drove all the way to Alaska
he took
on a whim to find Captain America, having no idea where the hell he was.
He took a rocket.
Yeah. So they're in this car. Sam's kind of catching Captain America up on what's happened over the past 50 years, whatever. he sees like a voice recorder that was made in Japan. He's in a car that's made in Germany.
He's having PTSD and he's not listening to a word Sam is saying.
Yeah. Sam's explaining to him how his friend is now, who was the child that saw him when he was on the rocket in the 40s, is now the president of the United States and sent him here on this secret mission.
But Cap also saw the kid. Like it was a
true.
It was a mutual glimpse. But like, how the fuck did Captain America see the kid? He's on a rocket.
So, yeah, he would have been like looking at the ground. Like, imagine if he was just looking at the sky.
He was though.
No idea how close to the ground he was.
I think the scene is his back is like, oh, he's looking up and he's like trying to destroy the fins on it. So how the fuck did he like? Oh, there's a kid,
the child.
Like he hits it. And he's like, hey, the kid. Like, how would you even see a face? Like, I don't know.
I don't think we need answers to that question.
Yeah,
just go with it.
Even though the plot hinges on it tremendously.
So Cap starts getting starts saying he's gonna get sick because he's seeing all these. He's saying like everything is made in Japan, made in Germany. We're not in the war anymore. The war is over. America won. So he's like, you need to pull over. I'm gonna get sick. So Sam pulls over. Cap runs out of the car. He pretends to throw up. Sam runs out to be like, are you okay? And then in the goofiest fucking manner, Captain America like jukes Sam out and runs into the driver's seat of the car and just drives away.
but Captain America, the super soldier, almost gets caught by Fat Sam, the private eye. Like, they both are running at a relatively similar pace, but he's a super soldier and Sam is just a guy.
Would you pull the car over, please? I think I'm going to be sick.
What?
Would you please pull over the car? I am going to get sick.
Oh, okay, all right.
Driving around in his fucking Nazi mobile. They just gave up chasing him with those motorcycles they had.
Oh yeah.
It's one fucking road. Just go. You'll get there.
Captain, are you okay?
He juked him.
Don't leave me out here!
What?
It's like he barely outran the fat guy. He's a super soldier.
That was the slowest run ever. Like that's like I feel like I watched that on like Family Guy.
He just ran at a regular ass pace back to the car.
He looked so goofy, just like running away from Sam.
And the camera
into this car
is so far back. So like Captain America kind of gets eclipsed by Sam because like he's definitely Sam's in the foreground and like it's shot super weird. And then he just leaves Sam in Alaska to fend for himself.
And there's not like there's anything around. Like they're in like the Alaskan wilderness.
Yeah.
There's literally one road and just trees.
Yep. And there's assassins close by.
Yeah, the assassins that they just escaped.
They're like
Captain America just leaves them there.
They're not that far away from the hot assassins.
Then I don't know what Sam does or Captain America does with Sam's truck. I think it
runs out of gas.
Until it runs out of gas, right?
Yeah,
okay,
and this is where we get the super
specific
specific song about what's happening.
And then Captain America, we get a montage of Captain America hitching a ride on like a Molson ice truck. So we know we're in Canada now because it's Molson Ice.
Yeah, good visual storytelling, actually.
Yeah.
But like the song is super specific. He's like on his way to see his long lost love, who he left in to get the procedure. Her name is Bernie.
Who we met her real quickly at the beginning of the story.
She's the top 1% of all women. And
Bernie Stewart is her name.
And the song is like in my head, it was like riding in a beer truck, going to see the love of my life from Captain America. Like it sounded so specific to what is happening on screen. Turns out the guy who composed the movie's score wrote all the songs specifically. I'm assuming because they didn't have any money to license songs.
Probably. That's a pretty good assumption, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, he like drives the Volkswagen till the wheels fall off and then just like hops in a Molson truck and then he's in California.
In a pea coat. In a pea coat.
In the summer.
He goes back to his old house, I think, or is his girlfriend's.
It's definitely his old neighborhood. I think he goes to Bernie's house.
Yeah, so he goes to Bernie's house, finds out Bernie's super old now because
time
she moved on and 50 years have gone by. But he sees Bernie's daughter, Sharon. So I guess this is like kind of supposed to be Sharon Carter, but I think her last name's Stewart in this movie. And she's not a SHIELD agent. She's just some teenager. He sees Sharon, he's like, Bernie? And she's like, who the hell are you? You smell bad. She like whacks him with like her groceries or whatever. And then the ruckus causes actual Bernie to come out of her house. And she's like, oh my God, Steve.
And it's just the same actress in old lady makeup. They just didn't get an old lady. Like, it's the young lady in old makeup trying to do an old lady voice. She's like,
exactly.
Oh, Steve Rogers, is that you? It's just like very obviously the same lady with very bad old lady makeup on.
So Bernie remarried. I think her husband's name is Jack. He has like a line in the movie, maybe. Yeah. He's kind of just in the background the whole time. Her daughter is Sharon. They invite him in. He kind of tells them what happened, what's going on. And then we cut back to Sam, who's, I don't know, back in DC. Like, where is he? He's back in like his PI headquarters. We don't know how he got there.
Sam does more super heroic shit than Captain America does, because apparently Sam can teleport. Yeah. He's got superpowers, I guess.
He's back in like wherever his PI headquarters are, and he has Captain America's like government file. We don't know how he got this. Did the president give it to him? Like,
and it also says Project Captain America on it.
Yes. And he's going through the file, and I think that's where he gets the information from the scientist that like created the serum and on the Red Skull. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm trying to think back at when we were watching this movie. I know it was only yesterday, but I've kind of shoved a lot of it out of my mind.
As you should.
Through the old file, he finds Bernie's address, and is like, oh, that's probably where he went. So Sam goes to Bernie's house.
Really batting 1,000 of just blindly guessing where Captain America is going to be.
Yeah.
Because he did it in Alaska.
On the lottery here.
Yeah. I told you, Sam is the one with the superpowers.
So he goes to Bernie's house. Bernie doesn't want to let him in. And he's like, no, I'm a friend. I'm a friend. You need to let me in. Tells them why he's there. Captain America is not there. Captain America is actually at Sharon's house.
Because he was like, your mom's too old. He just immediately starts like hitting on the daughter.
Also, I forgot to mention this, but I guess so. Sam is in contact with Tom, the president, and is like tells him that he has the address, but the phone number for the presidency is like wiretapped because they have the spy that's working there. So this is like a lot of plot going on here.
Yeah.
So the Red Skull knows that Sam is going to Bernie's house. So the Red Skull sends his assassins to Bernie's house also. So when Sam gets there, shortly after, the assassins get there, and they shoot Bernie in the back, and then they shoot Jack, Bernie's husband.
But they shoot Sam. They shoot Sam in the back.
I'm sorry. Did I say something else?
Bernie.
Oh, they shoot Sam in the
They
back.
shoot
Yes.
everybody.
They shoot everyone. That's all you need to know. They go there. They're looking for Captain America.
They're hot.
Like, we don't know who you're talking about. You know, they're trying to play hardball. And turns out they shoot everyone. Captain America, I think Sharon gets the call that something's happening
Yeah.
at her mother's house. So they all go back there, or Cap and Sharon go there and find Sharon's dad was like on a stretcher, and he's like, she didn't give it up. She didn't give him up. They wanted more information, and she wouldn't give him any.
And that was his line.
That's like the only line he has in the movie. And then she's like, "Oh my God, Dad!" And then you get the medic who's like, "He'll be fine. He just got shot in the arm. He's in shock."
Yeah.
Like they just like put him away. Meanwhile, Sam, I don't even remember what he says to Captain America.
He
but
gives
it's
him the
something along
decoder.
the lines. That's right. He gives him the decoder, and he's like, "You need to give this to the president," right?
Yeah. Because I'll get back to that one.
I thought he gave him some like words of wisdom, some like
Yeah.
our only hope or something like that.
Yeah, but then he was definitely like, give this to the president so he knows I'm dead or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So he knows. So he has something to remember me by. Sam then dies.
Yeah.
They're doing CPR on him. And then we go into the house, see what happens to Bernie. And they're just zipping up her body back.
Super
Like,
dead.
she's done.
She doesn't even get a
didn't
death
even get a
scene.
goodbye. Yeah. Doesn't even get a death scene. I feel like it would have been more impactful to like have the father just be like zipped up and have Bernie kind of like give her last goodbye,
Yeah.
you know?
Like the Uncle Ben speech.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, literally
But
get to
no-
the house and it's just like, zip.
It's like the actress couldn't make it to set that day. Like she had another movie to film.
They were like, we can't
Like,
put this.
we'll just zip up her body bag.
Like, we can't put the old makeup on this lady anymore. It's too expensive. So just, she's dead now.
So we get Jack in the hospital recovering from his arm wound, even though he's unconscious the whole time. And then we get the news that the president, who was in Italy for some type of like conference,
NATO,
gets
maybe.
abducted. Yeah, NATO conference, gets abducted by the Red Skull. So now Captain America's like, I need to do something about this. So he decides to go back to Roz's cafe, which is where he had his experiment to make him Captain America, to look for clues. I don't know why. I don't know why this scene was even here.
I think he was trying to get the see if she had a notebook where she wrote the serum down. Like he was after a notebook because they got a notebook there. I think. I know they were looking for a notebook.
The notebook of the scientist.
Scientist. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're back at Roz's cafe.
Even though they said she didn't write it down.
So we're back at Roz's cafe, which is like super 80s now.
Yeah.
Because last time we were there was the 40s. And they completely plastered over the secret entrance that was there before, which happened to be in the women's bathroom now.
But the secret entrance was just a couple of coat hooks. So
Yes.
why did they just plaster over a whole section of the rest?
They're like, we don't need this part of the closet anymore.
Like they literally, he breaks through the wall and it's just like another 3 feet of restaurant and then the coat hooks. Like it's like, you're like, oh, this looks like a secret entrance. Let's just cover this up.
So, but what do you know? The assassins are on their way to the restaurant as well.
I don't remember how they knew that part. They just kind of showed up.
I think they just kind of showed up. I don't know how they knew that either.
Yeah.
Did they hear? Was it because I think Captain America, like he caused a ruckus because he was like went into the women's room and then like punched a hole in the wall to find the secret entrance.
But they got there really fast.
Yeah, they did.
Maybe they knew. I don't know, man.
So they go back, they go down into the basement looking for this notebook, and then they see or they hear the assassins.
They stole the file from Sam after they shot him.
Ah, that could be.
And that's where the info on the experiment was in there, so they would probably know. to go to Roz's, maybe. I don't. Why am I trying so hard to make this movie seem good? I'm not. It's
I don't know. But anyway, so they go down there. They hear the assassins coming, and they're like, "We have to hide, hide like directly under the stairs." The assassins just kind of walk right by them. They do like the juke out again. The
second juke
right up the stairs. Like no one sees them until I guess there was one assassin that was kind of lagging behind. Yeah. He catches them. And then we have this like fighting in the dark scene.
It's so dark. The darkest
on purpose.
Yeah, but I guess, but like, and he doesn't have his shield here. I don't know why, because like in the next scene, he's got a shield in a bag, and it's a duffel bag, but the shield is circular, so it's like the elongated, cylindrical, almost
clearly his
duffel
shield
bag.
in this duffel bag.
Like in the middle of the duffel bag, it's like really stretched out around the circle of the shield. But he's fighting these people in pitch black, like when you barely see like fists flying and maybe like the silhouettes of some faces. They're in a boiler room, and he steals like this circular plate off of a boiler, which would have immediately erupted into some sort of steam bomb. But he just takes it and does another one of the...
Well, not if the boiler's not working anymore. I feel like all this stuff's like out of commission.
True. Yeah, that boiler's definitely not running Roz's 80s deli or whatever. But he does another one of the like cornhole, like, and he like cuts a gun in half. Was that scene?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. No, that was near the end. That was the actual shield.
Okay, yeah.
I think when he threw this one, I do think it like hit someone's hand and like knocked the gun out of their hand or something.
Yeah, or he like knocked somebody through a wall. It's very hard to see what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. We get this like really long in the dark fight where you can't tell what's happening, what's going on. But they get the note. That's true. It was the notebook. So they get the notebook. I think because they need to find like where the Red Skull is or something.
I still don't know why they're shot. Yeah, they're trying to get the
president got abducted, so they need to find out how to get to him. It's coming back to me now. They get the notebook, and then they find out that the Red Skull's origin story, that's right, was in Italy. And he was this Italian boy who, took the substance, and it turned him into what he is now. So Sharon goes, "Oh, I spent a summer in Venice or whatever, and I know how to speak Italian." I'm like, I don't think that's how that works, but okay.
They have Duolingo.
So now we're in Italy. They hitch a plane over there, and they're on the search for any type of clues that are going to lead them to the Red Skull.
Well, they found the big old school tape recorder that was broken.
Yes. Where did they find that? Was it in
Roz's, I think. The big homophone thing, because like
I don't think that was in Roz's. I think they went to
Red Skull's house in Italy.
Yeah, they went to Red Skull's house.
Yes, that was it. God damn it. This movie's so big.
Yeah, so they went to Red Skull's childhood house to find...
And they let him in. The Italian people are very welcoming.
Yes, to find this... that's right, because he was like, "Do you speak English?" And they're like, "Nah." And then here comes... did I not put this in here? Oh, wow. How did I not put this in here? Okay, hold on. Backtrack.
Yep.
So they got Red Skull's address from this notebook, right? They're in Italy now. They rent a car. They're in this car.
Yes, this is where it happened.
And they're like, "Okay, we need to go to the Red Skull's childhood house to look for clues on where he might be." And Captain America realizes that this is no job for a mere woman.
A dame.
Yeah, it's no job for a dame. She could be put in danger. So they're in the car, and Captain America says, "I think I'm going to be sick."
This lady's really handling the death of her mother well.
Sharon, could you pull over for a minute? I think I'm going to be sick.
He's going to pull the same move. Please, juke her and go yourself. He's going to do it. Please. He's just going to run 20 feet back. He's going to do it. Juke her.
Wait a minute. What are you doing?
I can't take you
A classic Captain America move. Please pull over. I'm gonna puke. Psych.
I hope they use that in the new movie.
Does it again.
And makes Sharon pull over, and he gets out, pretends to throw up, and then does the juke out again, and runs back to the car, and just drives away and leaves Sharon there.
When I saw it developing, I got so excited. I was like, is he going to do the puke juke move?
The puke juke. That's what we need to call it. The puke juke.
Puke juke. And he fucking does it again. Like, how do you write that into a movie not once, but twice?
Oh, does it come up more? We'll find out.
Well, yeah, not the puke juke.
Not
But
the puke juke.
I don't think that works the third time.
What happens when he's really going to be sick and then everyone's like, I'm not falling for that, and he just pukes all over the car.
It's like, no, please. It's like, yeah, sure. The boy who cried wolf. He's just projectile vomits.
Okay, so
I
anyway,
really
Captain
hope
America-
they pull that in the new Captain America movie, just somehow. That's the end credit scene. 2 people in the world will get it, and we will be excited.
It will be us.
It's
The
just,
only people who have
it's
seen
just,
this movie.
it's just Anthony Mackie. Like, can you pull the Uber over? I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah.
It just runs in and steals the Uber and drives off.
Oh, okay. So Captain America drives away, drives to Red Skull's house. He gets there. He's trying to get in, doesn't speak Italian. The Italian lady is like asking him questions in Italian. He's like, do you speak English? And she's like, no. Then he's like, I continues to try and speak to her in English. It's like, I
like, what
need to get into this house. He just speaks kind of like slower. She's just
And
like,
louder.
I have no fucking idea what you're saying. Just when, it looks like he's not going to be able to make it there, here comes Sharon Carter, who's like, Shannon Stewart, whatever her name is, running up the street and starts speaking Italian, lets her know, we need to get in here. I don't remember the reason she gave them, some BS reason. They let her in. They find this old recorder that was in the house that just so happened to be recording during the time that Red Skull was getting abducted by the Germans.
Because they were recording his piano recital, I think. Well,
that makes sense.
yeah.
So they bring the recorder to some like Italian Radio Shack. This guy's like, this is really old. I don't know how to if we can like use this, whatever. But manages to find a way to get the recording off there, put it onto like a smaller recorder. Or no, that's what
They just record it.
Sharon records the recording with her personal recorder. Now they have the recording on their own. So now
Which is like, also, why the fuck do you need that? Like, they never said why. They just like, this has got to be the audio of him getting kidnapped. It has to be.
Yeah, like how do they know it might not have even have been from 1945? Like that could have been from 10 years ago or something. I don't know.
But it's like, also, now that you have that, what are you going to do with it?
Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
So they have the recording. They go now to some like outdoor restaurant where I guess they're discussing what their next move is to try and find the president because they still have no idea where he is.
But in this scene is where it's very noticeable. Captain America is in this like fedora and a button down and like this vacation wear.
Yeah.
He is so visibly in a very puffy muscle suit underneath it that he looks like fucking Quasimodo. Like
He looks like he has a hunchback.
like a huge hunchback because they're like, we got to make him look like a super soldier.
So right after this, all of a sudden, here is Red Skull's hot Italian daughter again with another one or two other hot assassins.
Possibly Russian assassins.
Possibly Russian assassins. They sit down behind Captain America, and then they like both slowly pull out their guns.
And they
like,
give it
point
a they give it a
at
gentleman's 5 seconds before they try
and
to
Sharon sees this and is like, look out. And then it turns into like Captain America like flips the table and like uses that as a shield, knocks them over, and then it turns into this chase scene through the streets of Italy. There's motorcycles again. More assassins are coming up. Eventually, they manage to escape because they jump into whatever body of water is around there. I guess it's the ocean.
Into the Mediterranean.
Jump into
Sea.
the ocean to escape the assassins. The assassins just like go over to the edge of the cliff, like look, and they're like, I guess they got away. Like if they waited like 3 more seconds for them to surface, they could have just shot them and been like, that's it.
They gave it the same gentleman's 5 before they pulled the trigger. They just looked. They're like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Yeah, they're dead. They just fuck off.
Yeah, they just leave immediately after they leave. Cap and Sharon surface.
Like it's so quick that like it doesn't even seem like they were hiding down there. It just seems like they dove in and went down a little bit deeper.
Yeah, and then just
and it's just like the time it took them to swim up. They had just were like, I'm tired of this shit. Like they're the most aloof set of assassins. They don't give a fuck. They're just like,
Red Skull's not paying me enough for this.
Whatever. Let's go be hot somewhere.
So then Sharon goes. They go back to the scene of the crime, bone dry. They're like. They change super quick out of that water. Sharon finds one of the purses of the assassins and goes up. Now there's like a crime scene going on there because people are firing guns and the police are there. And she goes back and she's like, oh my God, you found my purse, to the police. Takes the assassin's purse. Here's where they get the address for where the Red Skull's hideout is.
Yeah,
and now they have
wrote it down and kept it in her purse.
They have to exactly. They have to traverse the Italian countryside. I think they said it's like 50 miles away.
Yeah.
To get to the Red Skull's castle, right? So they're going through the Italian countryside in this car. Sharon now pulls the juke out because she's like, we need to get out here. I don't remember for what.
The hot
gets out.
The hot
because
Italian
they're being pursued again. That's why.
But they're like in the middle of an open field, and they're like the assassins are circling like they can't fucking see this giant blonde-haired guy standing on a hill. And she's like, we need a distraction. She jukes him out and drives off and immediately gets fucking kidnapped.
Yes. Yeah, because she went to go be the distraction. She locks Cap out of the car, drives away, gets kidnapped.
Like quarter mile down the road. They could have gotten both of them. But again, they're aloof and they don't care. They're like, hey, we got one. It's fine.
So Captain America knows the location of Red Skull's evil castle now. I think this is the part of the movie because he's in like just regular clothes from... He's been in regular clothes from the time that like he got to Ernie's house.
Yeah, but he has the duffel bag
now. Yeah, but he has his duffel bag, and this is where he's like, I need to become Captain America again, and he puts on the old suit that's like all stinky and tattered up.
Yeah,
like they only used one suit for this whole movie.
Yeah,
you could tell.
Yeah,
it is like beat up. So
he like pulls it out, and it's like jiggling because it's just like some very rubber.
So he puts it on and goes to Red Skull's castle. Like, I don't know. His hideout is like this old medieval castle.
Not a great hideout. It's just a base. Like, yep, evil guy's definitely in that castle on the hill. Like, I don't know why they needed to write it down. It's just like, yeah, that's probably where the guy is.
Meanwhile, at the Red Skull's castle, the Red Skull's giving the president, who he has hostage, this like injection that's going to... They don't explain this well at all.
I think this is the face thing.
It is the face thing, but I still have no idea what it's going to do. He's giving him some like injection that's going to allow the Red Skull to like take his face.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means like surgically or like, I have no freaking idea because they don't explain it.
There's just a lot of science bullshit around. There's like
they're basically...
There's like a gun, an injection gun and stuff. They're like, people suss it out. There's science happening here. And he's like, the chemicals need to stay in your body for 24 hours.
Yeah, it's like, okay, movie fucking plot.
Yeah.
Like the chemicals need to be in your system for 24 hours before we can do whatever this procedure is that we're going to do that's going to give me your face and I'm going to be the new president. The president pockets like after they give him the injection, they're gonna throw him back in his cell. He like pockets this
The world's
like
tiniest.
clearly like acid. Like they just pick him up and he kind of just like shoves it into his pocket.
But you
No one
see
sees
him
do this.
It's like so many people
It's like
around
clear as day that
and
he's
you
doing
see him
this.
like fishing around in his pocket, and it's the world's tiniest amount of acid. It's like this bit. What do you need that for?
Like a tablespoon of acid.
like fetch me the tablespoon of acid stat. Like, what do you need that for?
Yeah, and why was it just next to him? Like, why was it just sitting on the table, just right next to him?
Just in case.
I was like, oh shit, I left my acid out.
Just in case you needed a little bit of acid. Just not a lot. You need a little bit of acid.
Oh, okay. So they put him back in his cell. Meanwhile, Captain America is making his way there. Captain America now is climbing up. They throw Sharon in a cell as well. She's like underneath. Captain America's climbing up the side of the Red Skull's castle. And then flash forward 23 hours and the president
He's using the
is
acid
his
on the
final
bars.
hour. Yeah, like he's used the acid, but it's not working.
Yeah.
To,
They'll like
because
see you in
there's not
20
enough acid
They'll like see you in 20 minutes. It's almost time.
for him to break out of his cell. He manages to break out of his cell by like kicking the door after the acid has weakened it. And then he hides behind like a bookshelf as the Red Skull's entourage comes into the room to check on or to go fetch the president. None of them see him. He does the juke out now.
It's in he's in a cell that you have very clear visibility. As soon as you step in the room, you'd be able to tell if there was somebody in that cell. And this big goofy henchman like gets to the cell, unlocks the cell, looks into the cell, and goes, "Duh, there's nobody here."
And there's like 5 of them. It's not just one guy. There's like 5 of them.
Yeah, the president.
And they're all like, "Duh," and then the president like comes out from behind the bookshelf, runs up to the top of Red Skull's castle where Red Skull is, and Red Skull's like, there's nowhere that you can go. And then that's when he's like, you need me to do this plot, don't you? And he's just like, well, I'll just throw myself off of this castle now. So he goes to jump, he does the juke out again, goes to jump off of the castle, but no, Captain America is there and he catches him as he's falling, manages to pull him back up, and then Captain America climbs to the top of the castle. Some like minor plot stuff happens here, and I don't really remember what it is, but Captain America, I think he kind of like fights his way through a bunch of the Red Skull's henchmen, and then we get to the part where it's like clearly the battleground for the final battle.
Yeah.
And we have 3 simultaneous fights going on at the same time, where we have Captain America fighting the Red Skull. We have Sharon Stewart fighting the Red Skull's daughter. Because the Red Skull's daughter goes down to her cell and goes to like take her out, but somehow she
jukes her.
Jukes her out.
There's another juke that happens there, I remember.
And like somehow gets her gun. And
Yeah, they're like
at gunpoint.
They're all of a sudden like closing in on where Cap and the Red Skull are fighting. Like she has a gun on her, and then the next scene,
Sharon has a gun on
yes,
Red Skull's
Sharon
daughter.
has a gun on Red Skull's daughter, and then the next scene, they're like chasing after each other. Like
No, then the next scene, all of a sudden, the Red Skull's daughter is like running out from where they were, and it's
Yeah.
like, what happened? Like,
Yeah.
I thought you were pointing a gun at her.
she got juked.
How is she here now? Yeah,
Presumably, she got juked. You have
Red
to
Skull's daughter did the juke out.
you have to assume there was a juke that happened in there, because the movie has told us it is the most effective thing in this movie universe is just give him a little shoulder shake and get out of there.
So that happens, and then the president is fighting like one of the Red Skull's henchmen, and he's like kicking ass. Like he's
He
like
knocks-
throwing him into the wall.
He knocks out several people. I think is it the chemicals that made him do that? It was
Maybe
they never even said like what happens after the 24 hours. Like if presumably, no spoilers, if the president gets away, does he still have these chemicals in his body? Like what do they do?
Captain America now.
Yeah, like he's kicking more ass than Captain America is, They don't even explain what the fucking chemicals are doing to this guy. Like, in 24 hours, does he just dissolve from the inside? Like, what happened?
So we have these 3 fights going on. And then, oh God, this movie is so freaking ridiculous. So then the fight makes its way to like the outskirts of the castle. The president has knocked out multiple people. He's fine now. He's not in danger anymore. Captain America is chasing the Red Skull. The Red Skull's daughter got away from Sharon. So the Red Skull goes over to a piano that's just like misplaced in the set, is just like on the roof of his castle. Because,
he's a
it's
penis.
not gonna get weathered by like
The Italian sea.
the outdoors. Yeah. So he goes over to this piano, pushes a few keys on the piano, and then this detonator just pops out.
It says 1, 2, 3 armed on it.
Yes, this is 1, 2, 3 armed. And it slowly, like, 1 comes out, and then 2 comes out, and then the Red Skull says, 70 million people will die. Does not explain at all what this detonator does, like what's gonna happen with it. It's just
it detonates something.
It detonates something. Like, we don't know what.
Something that will
70
kill
million people are gonna die.
Like, what's the population of Italy?
I don't know. Like, is he gonna blow up all of Italy? Like, they did not do a good job of explaining what's gonna happen there.
Italy has 58 million people.
Okay, so maybe Italy and then some.
Yeah, a little Italy and a
Big
little
chunky Europe.
Yeah, Italy and a little bit of surrounding areas. Maybe because like Sicily and Egypt touch. Maybe skim a little off Egypt. Maybe I'm bad at geography. You think Germany's around there somewhere?
Sicily and Egypt don't touch.
Sicily, aren't they
Sicily's
close?
an island.
Yeah, isn't it the bottom of the boot? And then what am I thinking of?
Sicily is it's near the bottom of the boot, but it's its own island.
Yeah, but they're close. That's why.
I mean, it's still got to go over the sea.
Yeah,
I feel like
we're talking explosion here. We're not talking train routes. It could travel. They're close enough, right? Yeah.
Where are we now? Okay, Red Skull has this detonator. It's gonna blow up. And here's where Captain America decides to play the audio of
his kidnapping,
Red Skull's kidnapping, like origin story. And I don't think it does anything. Like, I think he's kind of just like, he kind of is like, oh,
he stops and
I
like
remember that.
He stops and he like looks over on the like off the cliff. And he's just like, yes, I remember. I think.
And his daughter is also there and she's kind of playing with him to not blow the joint.
Because everybody dies.
Because everyone dies. Yeah.
They're like, no, we got so much being hot left to do. Please don't blow us up, Dad.
And so he plays the recorder and he kind of looks
from really far away.
Like, it is really far.
He's just like,
in real life, he'd be like, what is that? I can't hear it.
He's like, what is that? Turn it up. I don't know. What is this?
But it doesn't really do anything because he's still going to push the button. So I think it just it was a distraction. And then Cap like throws his shield. I don't really 100% remember how he I think it hits him and then he falls off the edge. Was that what happened?
He sends it really far. I remember the scene of him falling because it's an asset.
It's just a dummy.
I think it's just an asset of a dummy doing one full rotation, but they just keep looping it. And he's like cartwheeling down into this. They have like a wide shot of the cliff. And there's this like little like indistinguishable thing, which like still looks pretty big in comparison to where he's falling from. And he's just like cartwheeling
it's
down.
Real goofy looking.
Yeah.
When he falls off the cliff.
He's still in this fight. Not anymore. Again, the movie tends to do that. He's really cartwheeling down there. Like, why did he give up so easily? He had this plan to do the thing to the president, and then he was just like, all right, I'll just blow us all up instead. And this is where you would imagine he would go and like try to catch him, and then the hand would pop off to show like Captain America deep down is still a good guy. Like he doesn't want, like he just wants good and he wants peace in the world. And he even tries to save his nemesis, but fails. But no, he just fucking shit whips this guy off the cliff.
Okay. So Sharon has the recorder. She's trying to give it to Cap. Red Skull shooting at them, he's waiting for the detonator to get down to 0. And he's like saying he's like 10. 12, like frustratedly looking at it so he can
Come on.
Cap picks up the recorder because Sharon drops it, plays it. Red Skull hears it. He's looking off into the distance and reminiscing about how he was kidnapped. Looks at the piano, puts his gun down because he's like, I remember.
Captain throws his shield really high.
Well, then Cap is like making his way up there as Red Skull is distracted. He goes back to the detonator. He's gonna push it. He says, "We are both tragedies, and now I send our tortured souls to rest." Captain America says, "Speak for yourself." Throws the shield, knocks him off the cliff. It's such a dummy, stupid move. Red Skull's daughter goes to pick up the gun to shoot Captain America, but the shield comes back, hits her, knocks her out. And then the U.S. Army comes in, and the movie ends.
Yep. That was it.
That's what happened. Okay. I had to, because I remember her getting hit. I didn't remember the shield coming back, but yes. So that's what happens at the end of the movie. Cap and Sharon, they share a hug. And then we get this weird freeze frame on Captain America. And then that turns into kind of like a derpy comic book drawing of Captain America. And we get this like final like message from the president. That's like, the president has been returned safe. All he could say was, "Thank Captain America." But the world doesn't know who Captain America is. So they're like, they also even said in the final like note or whatever, they were like, whatever that means. Like, the president's just this like crazy ass person who's just like imagine the president gets saved and he's just like, "I'm saved. Thank Captain America." But like, no one knows who this guy is. So,
and his approval rating fell 20% that day.
Then the movie just ends, and we have this fucking Bruce Springsteen-esque song at the end, which I don't remember the title for.
It's in like, we definitely mentioned it while we were watching the credits.
Yeah.
Because we saw the Steadicam guy, and then we saw all of the songs that were written by the one guy, the one composer, and it was just like, Captain America is cool or some stupid shit. Like, it's just very like, and I'm proud to be Captain America, where at least I know I'm free. That kind of shit.
Very that. Home of the brave.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes. So that's it. That's Captain America 1990.
He was in the suit twice.
He was in the suit twice. The movie was an hour and a half, and it felt like 5 hours.
Yeah, it felt really long.
Let's get into just a little bit of movie trivia before we give away some awards and give our review. So, some things that I found interesting about this movie. Captain America had a long and tumultuous production history. The film rights were originally purchased by Universal Pictures, who planned a theatrical feature-length film starring Jeff Bridges as Captain America and Peter Fonda as the Red Skull. The writer Jeffrey Strauss later revealed a script and pieces of concept art that also included Falcon, Heinrich, Baron Zemo, and Bucky Barnes as characters. When he was interviewed about the project, the film ultimately never got made due to issues reacquiring the rights. This was in the 80s. Then it was sold a bunch of times. Yeah, this is like 1986.
I want to see the 80s version of this movie with Baron Zemo and Bucky Barnes and shit.
It would have been way better, I feel like. It almost came out in 1987, it looks like, or 1986. Michael Dudikoff, I don't know who that is, was set to play the title character, and Steve James would play Sam Wilson, the Falcon. By 1987, Winter was off the project, and actor-director John Stockwell came aboard to write with a script. Went through more production hell before it finally, I guess, landed with what it became. For casting, Dolph Lundgren and Arnold Schwarzenegger were both considered for the title role.
I I told you in the beginning, I was like, they totally wanted Dolph Lundgren and they couldn't get him. Cut it. Put it in here.
Yep.
Put it right here.
Could you imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger with his thick Austrian accent being Captain America?
He'd be in Austria in the 40s, like, why is everybody so mad? This is
Exactly. Throw him in the 40s scene.
Arnold Schwarzenegger would be in around that and be like, this makes sense. This is exactly how it was.
Val Kilmer was also offered the part, but turned it down to work on The Doors instead. Good for him.
Yeah, good call.
Originally, they wanted 2 different actors to play Rogers and Captain America, one before and after his transformation, which would make sense. However, Marvel insisted on only one actor play the character. They wanted Matt Salinger, I don't know who that is. He was in Revenge of the Nerds, to play Steve Rogers, and they wanted Howie Long to play Ghost Super Soldier Captain America.
What? Howie Long?
Howie Long, yeah.
Oh my
Raiders.
God. I'm an idiot.
Howie Long.
I'm an idiot. I was thinking of Howie Mandel. That would explain my initial befuddlement. I was gonna be like the guy from Bobby's World, and you would be like, "You mean the Raiders?" That makes way more sense, actually.
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh,
Okay.
all right.
They also Pune, who I guess was who is this? He directed it. Wanted Captain America to use his tactical black suit in the film to reflect his appearance in the comics, I guess at the time, but that was rejected by Marvel. Who wanted to retain the classic costume.
Would have made more sense if he had the tactical suit in the woods, but nope. Sky blue, red, white, and blue, baby.
The original mask had holes that allowed Matt Salinger's ears to poke through. Did Matt Salinger actually play? Okay. Matt Salinger, I guess, was the guy who played Captain America. So they wanted him to be Steve Rogers and then Howie Long to be Captain America, post-Super Soldier Captain America. The original mask had holes that allowed Matt Salinger's ears to poke through. It caused uncomfortable chafing, so plastic ears were used. And Dolph Lundgren also did not do the movie because he was filming The Punisher.
Huh. Both not great.
Yeah. And then when it was time to release, it was going to release in theaters to coincide with the 50th anniversary of Captain America. But instead, it went unreleased for 2 years before debuting direct-to-video and on cable television in the US in the summer of 1992.
Oh. So it wasn't a theatrical release.
It was not.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of trivia about the production of Captain America, Howie Mandel. All right. Like he's shorter than the guy.
They're like, fuck, serum didn't work.
Okay, let's give some awards away. My most ridiculous plot point of this movie, for me, was the fucking missile.
Yeah.
He's on the missile and then all of a sudden he's in Russia. That was within the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie. So I was like, oh, I know where this is going from here. That was the most ridiculous. Juke out, close second.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the missile is the catalyst. All right, if we're giving out awards, I'm gonna throw one in here. What was the best?
Go for it.
What was the best juke out in the movie? Because there's a lot to choose from.
It's got to be one of the car ones.
I gotta say the
where he
original.
says he's gonna puke.
The original puke juke, I think, is the best one.
They're both really good because the original, you actually think he's gonna get sick.
Yeah,
Like,
okay, I agree. The second one,
And then
because they did it again.
And then I think the original probably takes the cake because of him like goofily running back to the car is so stupid.
And Sam almost tracking him down. Like Sam has incredible closing speed.
Yeah, I think that one takes it. But the second one was equally as good because they're like, no, they're not doing it again. They just do it again.
That's a table read. And then he does the puke thing again, and everybody's like, again? I'm doing the all right.
Who do you think the worst actor or character in this movie was?
Oh, that
That's a tough one.
is tough. I think I have to give it to the gaggle of hot assassins because they were just so bad at their jobs. They didn't kill anybody. Well, no, they did. Never mind. They killed the whole house full of people.
They did. They killed
Bernie
Bernie.
and Jack. Well, they didn't kill Jack. They killed Bernie and Sam. But still, I would say, because they didn't really have much to do, and their acting was really bad, and their accents kept slipping between Italian and Spanish and Russian. So I'm going to give it to the hot assassin, the group of hot assassins.
Okay. I'm going to go with Tom Kimball. Ronnie Cox. I don't know.
He was
He's
overly
just a terrible
animated.
president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocking jeans in the Oval Office. Looking like a substitute teacher in there.
He just also doesn't come off as the president. Like he's just like extremely goofy the whole time. Asking Sam to go investigate Captain America.
Hell of a right hook, though.
Yeah, can definitely beat people up.
Has some mystery chemicals floating around his body. Who knows what that's going to do?
Okay. Is there any other awards we want to give away for this movie?
I would say the best scene is when the credits rolled, because the movie was over.
I mean, we could go best fight scene.
Oh, we didn't even mention all of the cuts during the gun scene. And the last,
you're right.
The last fight scene, there, Captain America is duking it out with some henchmen, and every bullet that's fired is a different cut. It cuts to Captain America, they shoot a bullet, it cuts to the guy shooting a bullet, he shoots a bullet, it cuts to Captain America. It is the most nauseating scene in a movie you will ever see. Crawling over to that gun. My eyes! What is going on? I need to go back and I'm going to count the cuts in that one scene. God damn.
It's like every bullet is a cut.
I couldn't even count the cuts. I was going to be like, Steve, do a bit where you count. No, I wouldn't want to do that to you. There's too fucking many cuts.
There are a lot of cuts.
And there's no good fight scene.
It's like at least 2 per second.
Yeah, it's nauseating. The best fight scene is the initial Cap and Red Skull fight scene, where they're all just like,
Yeah, I would agree because
Kinda
it's
what-
still like kind of good.
yeah, that's back before the wheels really fucking fell off this thing.
Yeah,
As soon as he's on the rocket, this movie takes a nosedive into shitville. But up until then, it was like,
it was like yeah, okay, this is like some cheesy 80s movie.
Yeah.
So it seems like
Yeah.
Okay, now we get to the rating, and then we're going to tell you guys what we're doing next. So the ratings that I wrote for that, I think we'll probably stand by for now, maybe change as this develops. At the top is actually good. So that's like a movie that we watched that's bad, but like, oh, this is actually good.
yeah, got a bad rap.
Which I think is kind of like, a movie that would be like a regular 6 or something like that, 6 and above. Then there's bad good, which I think is something that's kind of like, maybe think about like Batman and Robin,
Yeah.
memeable, unintentionally funny, and just plain awful. Scott, where would you rank this?
Me personally, this goes right into unintentionally funny, resting on memeable. But I would say this is just like me. I guess memeable, you would have to have some sort of like social relevance. And this
Yeah.
movie didn't even get released in theaters. So I think that kicks it out of memeable. right into unintentionally funny, because there is moments in this movie where me and you were doubled over laughing. Like, it is so unintentionally funny. I did have a good time, so I can't call it just plain awful. We did have a good hour and a half, which seemed like 5, laughing at this ridiculous piece of film.
I agree. And I think that like Bad Good is also memeable, because it's like memeable is like it's not yet bad good, but there are some parts of it that's like memeable. But I do think it's unintentionally funny. But just barely here. Like like if it wasn't for the juke out move, if it wasn't for the ridiculous rocket, like
the jukes really save it, actually.
It might be just plain awful. But yes, I agree with you. Unintentionally funny.
Yeah. The too slow into the Heil Hitler, into the gunshot, the juke moves, the Molson ice truck montage. Like, it seems like they were aiming to be funny, and that's like,
does it? I didn't get that.
Well, no. So if you looked at it, like if you looked at it out of context and not in a Captain America movie, like if somebody wrote those scenes on paper, you'd be like, this is obviously a comedy. But since it's in a Captain America movie, it is unintentionally funny. Like, if you just read these scenes out of context, you'd be like, this movie's going to be fucking hilarious. Be like, oh, it's a serious Captain America movie. Okay, so it's unintentionally funny. That's where my thought process went. It sits firmly and unintentionally funny.
Oh, I missed this in trivia, too. Apparently, Stan Lee filmed a cameo appearance that was ultimately cut.
Those bastards. I wonder where. He must have been the Molson ice truck driver.
Yeah. This movie is unintentionally funny because when he's in the truck with the music,
I would say it is worth a good watch. Like, get a couple of beers, get a case of Molson Ice. Fuck, he put it on ice like Captain America traveling from Germany to DC to Alaska. Crack it open, watch it with friends, get a couple of buddies, take a drink every time there's a smash cut. You know, you will have a good time watching this. Like, I can recommend. Throw it on like a bad movie night when you're all just hanging out on the couch and have some laughs, because there are a lot of laughs in this movie.
Now, so that's our review of Captain America 1990. We do have a few movies that we have in the pipeline. We plan to do this maybe like around one a month to kind of coincide with what's coming out.
Yeah.
So we are going to take a look at the Ben Affleck Daredevil is next in our pipeline.
That's going to be actually good. I'm already spoiling that one.
I do think it's also going to be actually good, because I remember watching this back in the day, and I mean, it's not a fantastic movie, but I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All in soundtrack.
After that, we've got Punisher Warzone, or it could be the Dolph Lundgren Punisher. I've never seen that one, so I don't know. We'll figure it out. I have seen Punisher Warzone though. That movie is garbage.
Yep.
Doom with The Rock.
Hell yeah.
Alien Resurrection. Superman Quest for Peace. I've never seen that one either, so that's fun. That'll be fun. The 90s unreleased Fantastic Four movie that got released recently.
Oh, it did get released. I was like, how are we going to watch it if it was released?
Yeah. No, it got released like a couple years ago, I think. And that has a lot of lore behind it. Apparently, I guess the studio that had it they would lose the rights to the movie if they didn't make the movie. So they specifically made the movie just so they wouldn't lose the rights without any intention of releasing it. So I'm kind of excited to watch that, because I know it's got to be awful.
I'm just glad we get to watch that instead of Fan Four Stick. I thought we were going to have to watch
that movie is just plain awful.
That's plain awful.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And I didn't realize a new Predator movie was coming out this year.
Really?
So we have to watch The Predator, because that movie is bad.
Which one is that? Oh,
The Predator.
Is that one with Olivia Munn in it?
Is Olivia Munn in it?
Yeah, she plays a scientist.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah.
I've only seen it once, and so that's what's in our pipeline for now.
It's the autistic kid who finds the
yes. Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. Okay. It's the president. He's going to become the president. He finds the president. The president.
If you guys have any suggestions on movies that we should watch, throw them in the comments. Let us know. We'll definitely give them consideration. Maybe throw them in the pipeline. With that, thank you guys for joining us. You can follow us on podcast platforms. I'll be sure to get this up. All right, next review actually is going to be, so we're also going to review like good movies or current movies that are coming out. So we will be reviewing Captain America Brave New World when that comes out. I believe the name of that show is going to be Spoiler Warning, which is just current movies.
That shows we're going to do Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil 2.
Basically, all the bad movies are going to coincide with something current that we're going to also review.
Yes. So please check those out too. Give us a follow over at Cool Nerd Show on YouTube. For YouTube, like we said, we'll throw in some of our reactions to
There's some good ones.
actually watched it. There are some good ones.
Watch
audio listeners. You can continue to just listen on audio or head over to YouTube. Scott, is there anything else you would like to say?
You can catch me on my other YouTube channel, Dish Upon a Bar. Me and my wife, we do theme park content. So if you happen to like theme park content, Central Florida theme park content specifically, you can follow me there. It's down below by my name, along with my Twitter handle. But thank you. If you made it this far, God bless you. You are a trooper. We're certified yappers. We talked for a while on this very bad movie.
Yeah, this is, and we're still figuring out the format. I'm sure it will.
I like this format.
This, next year and be like, wow, that was terrible.
That only means we got better.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take that as a positive thing. If this is our peak, this is a bad. It's bad. It's only going to get better from here.
What I'm saying is this will be ever changing, and we'll tweak things and things will get better. So, thank you guys for joining us. Until next time,
love y'all. Stay nerdy, baby. See you in the next one, guys.